This is a magical place that is slowly giving up its secrets. The forest, a superorganism. The interaction of plants, fungi, and animals has always fascinated me. Come with me to the empire of trees and meet the amazing species that live here. I have spent countless hours in the forest, listening to the song thrush and much more. My name is Jan Haft. I've been making wildlife films for more than 20 years. Walking through the woods, you don't always notice what's going on around you. Tapping sounds make me aware of a great spotted woodpecker. And I can see him using the fork of a branch as an anvil to crack nuts. I've been studying animals since I was a child, but the latest filming techniques and discoveries have shown us things we could never see before. The Black Forest is one of Germany's best-known forests. Its white firs and beeches have witnessed the return of one of our rarest and most impressive birds. Hungry chicks are waiting for their mother, not up in the canopy, but beneath a jutting rock. She's been away all day. The silent arrival of Europe's biggest owl. Their mother, the eagle owl. She's brought them prey. In the background, ravens excitedly call, warning about this formidable predator. The birds have an acoustic alarm system in the forest. This is a remarkable scene. 50 years ago, eagle owls were almost extinct in Germany. Now, there's about 1,000 breeding pairs. The red fox is no threat for the owls. Humans no longer endanger the owls either after years of superstition and persecution. Once they frightened us, supposedly eating hunters' game in the dark night. But the eagle owl prefers other prey. This mother has brought her young a rat, as she does most days. Eagle owls usually leave the forest to hunt. The pickings in nearby villages are richer and easier. The Black Forest is not an easy place to film. It's one of Germany's wettest regions. You might call it a cold rainforest. Beech trees make the most of the rainwater. They run it over their branches and trunks down into the earth. Every square meter of soil can store a bath full of water. The beech's roots then scoop it back up, circulating 400 liters of water through the trunk and branches every day. the Black Forest, you can already sense the climate is changing and summers are getting drier. I can't help wondering what this forest will look like in 10 years. Especially as the Black Forest's plants, animals and fungi are used to having lots of water. Morning mists in the Rhön hills of central Germany, in spite of the fact that it has only a quarter of the Black Forest's rainfall. Thimbleweed grows in the chalky soil, getting all the light it can in a still bare forest. The fox cubs are 3 weeks old. They don't actually need sunlight the way the early flowers do, but they enjoy the warmth on their coats. Like so many native species, the raccoon dog isn't a forest specialist. But the dense undergrowth and an abandoned badger set are safe hiding places for its young. The babies explore close to the entrance, training their senses and gathering experience. At the first sign of danger, they disappear underground. A vixen will only suckle her young outside if she's very sure the coast is clear. A mother squirrel tears strips from the bark of a linden tree. From this fine material, she'll fashion her spherical nest high in the crown. A chiff-chaff, weighing no more than 8 grams, carrying a feather stretches it to its limits. This is more its size, and soon the tiny chiff-chaff chicks will be warm and snug in their nest. In places, this forest is literally overgrown with beech trees. But fewer animal species can live where one tree dominates. I see that again and again. Biodiversity starts with a variety of trees. In a pure beech forest, only specialists can find everything they need to live on. Ramson, wild garlic, loves a shadowy, damp forest with rich humus. When conditions are right, it grows over vast areas, spreading its unmistakable garlicky springtime scent for several weeks. Noises in the forest put the fox cubs on alert, but if the coast is clear, they're soon playing. Quite close by, young badgers with their mother. They come out later in the day, when it's getting darker. A little fox sniffs the air and then carries on chasing his tail. With no siblings near, he must make his own fun. Once the leaves are out, dusk comes earlier to the beech forest, and the young come out to play sooner too. But fox and badger cubs still stay close to their dens and sets. There's always danger in the forest. If the mother senses something wrong, she'll hurry her young inside. Badgers and foxes don't really need the trees. They need room in the soil to dig deep dens. Many other animals couldn't breed without the trees. An entire fox or badger litter hardly ever survives unscathed. Over her lifetime, a vixen will give birth to several dozen young. On average, only 2 make it to adulthood, enough to replace their parents. I always see common buzzards hunting over open country because there's so much more prey there than in the woods. But they build their eyrie in a tree crown. Buzzards often nest in the forest because their chicks are better protected here. They're only part-time citizens. One thing became clear while we were filming. Very few of the bigger animals actually spend all their time in the forest. They tend to use it as a sanctuary, a place to keep themselves and their young safe. Many forest regions are interspersed with meadows and fields. If they were all covered in trees, the buzzard couldn't live here. This deposit of basalt scree shows that the Rhône was partly volcanic. Water seeps quickly through the stony, porous surface. So a source that doesn't dry up is very valuable in summer. It attracts thirsty clients like a magnet. A Eurasian jay sees it as a cool bath. Foxes don't like to swim and approach reluctantly. But the fox cubs still have to slake their thirst. Water and light are essential. They decide which species can make the forest home. Forest animals share the space. Territories overlap. Encounters are constant, even when there's no danger. Many animals have mind maps. Great spotted woodpeckers, Eurasian blackcaps, and hawfinches remember when and where they can find food and water. The same is true of roe deer. It drinks more than 2 liters at a time, so it doesn't have to come back to the waterhole too often. There's always the risk of predators. And here come the masked bandits. Raccoon numbers have grown fast. These immigrants from North America are inspecting a fox's den, and they withdraw promptly, hearing strange noises from the interior. Raccoons are drawn to the water, the entire family. They always look as if they're washing their hands. Really, they're scraping for water snails and insect larvae. Dusk is an especially busy time. For many forest animals, it's the first chance to emerge from their burrows. Many are nocturnal, not just the ones that have been hunted by humans. Balmy June evenings, with sunlight falling on a forest floor rich in herbs, will awaken tiny beetle species most of us have never seen. A wildcat marks her territory in urine on the edge of the badger set. And a badger returns the favor on the fox's den with its own unmistakable stench. These scent markings form a communication network for badgers and many other animals, helping them maneuver in the forest at night. The tawny owl's huge eyes are especially suited to the dark. In the pale moonlight, a white deer truly stands out. It's really a red deer with a rare genetic mutation. 2 parents with the same mutated gene will give birth to a white calf. You will hardly ever see owls bathe. They wash their feathers in the dead of night. It's firefly time. They don't really belong in the forest, but they'll multiply in sparse woodland or at the forest's edge. Male fireflies glow in the air to stimulate the flightless females on the ground to light up too. I could sit and watch this on June evenings for ages. After a good hour, the last dance. Soon, only the stars are glowing. The badger has no time for the fireflies. He's gathering dead leaves, sniffing them, and assessing them with his whiskers. Unlike the fox, he sleeps for most of the winter. He lowers his body temperature, and so as not to freeze in a cold snap, he lines his sleeping chamber in good time, several meters underground. His territory is covered in his and his family's scent markings. On the darkest night, even walking backwards, a badger always knows exactly where it is and what's around it. Following its nose, even in reverse. It's not yet dawn, but birds are bursting into song, invariably in the same order, starting with a prelude from the blackbird. The more open and varied the forest, the richer the chorus. For the badger family, it's a lullaby. Its active night ends at sunrise. The Alps in southern Germany. These 11,000 hectares are one of the country's biggest nature reserves. A predator stalks these mountain forests. It can strike at any moment, in any place, but few animals need fear him. His favorite prey are snails. This is the European glowworm, or rather its larva, following signals picked up by its sensitive antennae, looking for quarry. This is hunting in slow motion. Its poisonous bite paralyzes the snail. The victim can foam and twist as much as it likes. There's no escape now. The beetle larva patiently works away at the snail's foamy defense until it collapses. One last response. The snail gets weaker and weaker. After half an hour, the larva begins its slimy meal. This beetle is not the only predator in the Alps. There's one that's much bigger and also much shyer. A brown bear. Bruno the problem bear was shot on 26th of June 2006 in Upper Bavaria. It took another 3 years for a bear to return to Germany, to this forest. Unlike Bruno, he's very discreet. Bear tracks are regularly seen now. I hope that plenty more bears will soon be just as reserved and inconspicuous, like this one we could film across the border in Austria. Autumn comes early to mountain forests, and for me the most powerful herald of the cooler season is this long-legged cricket. No other insect has a briefer call. The dark bush cricket is often the last cricket we hear after all the others have already died of cold. The alpine sow thistle and other mountain plants are still in flower where the forest isn't too dense. In a clearing, wolfsbane reaches up to meet its pollinators. A Gerstekker's bumblebee responds. The wolfsbane's nectar and pollen are its only food. The bee has a special proboscis. It can only survive if the wolfsbane does too. Loaded with nourishment, the bumblebee flies to a mouse hole. The queen is much bigger than her workers. It's a former mouse hole, now the bumblebee's nest. Plump larvae are growing in their honeycomb cells. One of the workers bites a hole to inject the wolfsbane nectar. 24 round honeycombs in the mouse hole see the larvae through to adulthood. Above, life is remaking itself in a very different way. In nature, death is just as important as birth. Unless they're in balance, there will be too many or too few of each species. That could disrupt the whole network and destabilize the system. Life on Earth is a great cycle. The forest is part of that. If there are no big predators like bears or ravens to process a carcass, smaller specialists take over, like the carrion beetle. There's much of value in a lifeless squirrel's body. It gives life to others. Humble flies are critical here. There are 10,000 species in Germany alone. That's even more than the 7,000 indigenous beetles. And some of them specialize in carrion. Nature is a huge nutrient exchange. It even helps the squirrels when expired animals are devoured by the forest. That keeps disease at bay and maintains the health of the population. Squirrels start preparing for winter, which will soon claim more victims. Especially if the jays plunder too many of their painstakingly gathered stores. But a single squirrel can hide up to 10,000 stacks of nuts and acorns over a summer. So there's usually enough to go round. They've harvested the spruce seeds, but the cone's use is not over. It's still full of nutrients. You just have to know how to get them. In the damp woodland evenings, fallen spruce cones close up. And something starts to grow inside them. For me, it's a symbol of the exchange. Between big and small, above and below, between plants, animals, and fungi. Conifer cone caps and spruce cone caps are extremely fragile, delicate fungi that specialize in digesting evergreen cones. Their fruiting bodies decay as quickly as they emerge, but not before the putrid scent has attracted woodland door beetles. The lifespan of the cone caps is just one night. Unlike the animals that live in the forest, they do well in damp and cool conditions. Light and dryness are their enemies. In the autumn, the trees withdraw the precious green of chlorophyll from their leaves. For me, this time of year is the most beautiful. Colors explode, and suddenly strange forms of life emerge in the forests that were invisible until now. We're in Germany's biggest unbroken stretch of broadleaf forest, the Hainich, in the heart of the country. Via its mycelium, a kind of root network, the stinkhorn digests organic detritus that streams down from above. Then, the stinkhorn has a clever trick to reproduce and spread through the forest. It gets help from animals by emitting a strong stench of decaying meat. Some dung beetles don't insist on manure to bring up their young. Rotten meat will do just as well. The beetle scales the stinkhorn, believing it's dealing with a decaying animal. When it reaches the top, it scrabbles onto the fruity mass full of fungal spores. Later, when it goes on its way through the forest, it will distribute stinkhorn spores wherever it goes. The dung beetle eats the spores too, as do other insects. So the spores also travel comfortably in insects' bowels. Just before the last leaves fall, there's a final feast in the treetops. Aphids mate in the autumn and lay masses of eggs before they die. The fall is a good time for insect-eating songbirds, with millions upon millions of aphids on every hectare of broadleaf forest. Blue tits can go into the winter on a full stomach. In the Rhône, the woods become even more colorful after the first night frosts. There are many areas of mixed forest here. Each tree has its own characteristic color. Flocks of wood pigeons gather. They visit the forest pond one more time. They seem nervous. Ready to leave and seek refuge in southern Europe. The first frosts sweep leaves from the trees. The brimstone butterfly falls into a winter torpor. It'll survive ice and snow hanging here. The same is true of the comma butterfly. It keeps its orange upper surfaces closed. For 6 months, it relies on the camouflage of the bark-like undersides. Nature's net is looser in winter than in summer. Animals without special skills can fall through the gaps. Wild boar are scarcely troubled by this raw season. While life in the forest is on pause, wild boar hogs move in on peak form. The whole sounder is rummaging for larvae, tubers, and seeds. Deer, too, seek under the snow for shoots and buds. Suddenly, a mighty boar appears and shows off his strength. Another hog arrives to challenge the first. They're well matched. Neither will give in. They try to wound each other with their sharp side tusks. But their rough hides and extra layer of fat prevent serious harm. It's a long, exhausting fight. And then the loser quits the arena. The winner remains in the sounder to mate. Peace returns to the forest. But I can still see a lot. Green woodpeckers, for instance, snapping wood ants out of their nest. They dig deep tunnels to pick off the insects in their winter quarters. So cold they can hardly move, the ants are easy prey. If only the wild boars would keep away. At some point in early spring, the sun's weak rays conduct the first dawn chorus. Mating time is coming, and innumerable little singers and drummers are dividing the forest into breeding territories. Days are getting longer, and on the ground, life is stirring. Liverwort and other early flowers spring up. The tintorel is out, hurrying to spread its leaves and flowers before the trees cut the sunlight. These sounds, recorded with a stethoscope, are the sap rising in a tree trunk. Sunlight has activated the sugars stored in the roots and the trunk. That creates root pressure, which quite simply forces the water up into the crown of the tree. Many animals are attracted to the sugar-rich sap in the spring. The great spotted woodpecker hacks rows of holes in the bark till the juice flows out of the sap veins. Then it moves from hole to hole, sipping the sweet elixir. Blue tits serve themselves too. One benefits from the other's labor. It's all part of the great network. Some forest organisms depend solely on the sap to survive. This hornbeam is wounded. It's as though it were bleeding. More visitors come and lick the energy-giving cocktail. This colorful yeast fungus needs the sap too, reproducing at astonishing speed and even halting the flow of sap. Beneath, Corydalus spreads at the foot of the hornbeam and presents its pink flowers to the pollinators. Meanwhile, the glowing fungus pulp covers the trunk. Unlike other fungi, yeast fungi make no spores that can be distributed by the wind. It's not easy for the fungus of bleeding trees to move to a new location. So once it's established, it holds on tenaciously. An extreme life form with an extreme adaptation. Just as branches share the space in the canopy, so innumerable organisms divide up each square meter of the forest floor. Not far from my house, the snowmelt annually fills a small hollow with water, where every year grass frogs gather to spawn. They share the water with a few caddisfly and mosquito larvae. Next to the pond, another animal is preparing for its offspring. A bank vole bundling dead leaves into a package to line its nest. It has to be especially careful during the day. Luckily, one of its most dangerous predators currently has something else on its mind. Common buzzards nest in this forest every year. They always find plenty of prey in the early spring. I find it hard to watch this scene through the viewfinder. I really do feel for the doomed amphibians. But I also know that as long as the water remains, there will always be enough young frogs. Eating and being eaten is a natural law. It applies to all organisms, regardless of how little or how much we like them. Confrontations like this decide which communities establish themselves in the forest. No organism can or should exist without its adversary, not the mouse, the frog, the buzzard, or the tree. But I wonder, do humans who plant the trees and then cut them down also have a place in this great network? Wild boar hardly have enemies left in the forest. Does that mean they can now only be regulated by illness? Do we even understand all the connections at play? Or are we constantly destroying links in the great network of the woods without any idea of the consequences? Whether we're talking about a national park or a commercial forest, all these woods are shaped by humans. Yet each forest has something unique, its own magic. A wood pigeon snaps a desiccated spruce twig. It's using the litter of the forest to create the most important thing in nature, a nursery. This male is inexperienced. It needs several goes at each stage of nest building. And I have the privilege of watching. All this is happening in the forest where I spent my childhood. And I always love to come back here, even if it's only a spruce forest. Because even here, there is so much to discover. I'm constantly encountering new species, little citizens of the forest whose stories are just waiting to be told. My journey of discovery through our forests will continue throughout my whole life.